Hey Anthony,
Yeah.
did you hear Kristi Noem say that Americans should be prepared to prove their citizenship?
Yes, I did.
What do you think about that?
Some real Nazi shit. It's just a short step away from saying that all non-citizens have to wear some kind of badge so that they can be easily identified. And when you consider all the talk from the Trump administration about denaturalizing citizens, we're getting real close to having our own Nuremberg laws, aren't we? The best part is it's not like citizenship papers would matter anyways, given that ICE has already shown a complete and intentional disregard for anything resembling due process. In just the week since Renee Good was murdered, there have already been a number of additional ICE incidents regarding U.S. citizens, including several where they have kidnapped citizens, and at least one incident where they are still being held by ICE despite their citizenship status.
What happened?
Well, in what is perhaps the worst case of disregard for legal status, ICE reportedly kidnapped 4 Native American tribal members around Minneapolis on Friday, the 9th, and still have 3 of them in custody in a detention center at Fort Snelling today, despite multiple attempts from their tribe to have them released. Which is particularly dark because Fort Snelling itself was used in the Dakota War of 1862 by white settlers to imprison Native American captives, and is also the site of the execution of 2 Dakota leaders. To be clear, Native American tribal members are U.S. citizens, not aliens, and do not fall under the authority of immigration agents. Despite this, the men are still being held, and the Oglala Sioux tribe, which the men belong to, reports that ICE has refused to release any additional information about the men unless the tribe enters into an immigration agreement with ICE, something that ICE does not have the authority to request and that violates federal treaties between the tribe and the U.S. government. Of course, the U.S. government has a long history of persecution and genocide of Native Americans, so that's not exactly new, but it does really highlight how little ICE cares for the official papers Noem is calling for if a bunch of tribal members, literally the original citizens of this land, are being held despite their citizenship status. There have been other incidents as well, including a couple of teenagers and U.S. citizens that were assaulted and kidnapped by ICE agents on Tuesday at a Target in Minneapolis, then driven around for hours and abused until they were later dropped off at a completely different location. Or the 21-year-old protester, also a U.S. citizen, who was permanently blinded in one eye on the same day when an ICE officer fired a non-lethal round at him from just a few feet away, despite video evidence showing that he was not being violent. All of these incidents, of course, occur as Stephen Miller sends out a memo to ICE officials telling them they have federal immunity over their conduct, a blatant lie, and as Kristi Noem held a press conference while prominently displaying the slogan, "One of ours, all of yours," on her podium, alluding to the common authoritarian tactic of collective punishment, such as during the Lidice massacre of 1942 by the Nazis. So despite what Noem is saying, the actual message is obvious. They don't care who you are, they don't care about your citizenship status, and as Renee showed us, they don't even care if you're white. If you oppose ICE, they will do whatever they want to you, the federal government will protect them, and if you try and fight back, they will go after your community. So let's be crystal clear. What is happening in Minneapolis and elsewhere is the beginning of a civil war being waged by the federal government against its people. Congress is not going to save us. Federal judges are not going to save us. Midterms are too far away and potentially compromised to save us. It is important that we continue to fight this fascism through democratic means as well as all others, but ultimately we the people are the last check and balance, and if we do not act to save ourselves, nobody will. That is not to say that the situation is hopeless. If anything, the Trump administration is growing increasingly desperate to maintain control. But we must act to see it fall. We cannot wait for one shocking obvious moment where everyone stands up and resists together. We need instead sustained protest, civil disobedience, and a general strike to prevent the illusion of normalcy that the Trump administration so desperately needs to carry out its agenda. The worst thing that we can do is nothing, for that's exactly what the fascists want.